The new discoveries here at the Church of the Holy Sepulchre happened during a recent restoration around the tomb of Jesus.
For 3,000 years, nobody was allowed to dig the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. 35 acres of sacred ground sitting on top of the most contested piece of land on earth. 3 world religions claim it. Millions pray toward it. And for centuries, the rule was simple. Don't dig. Don't disturb. Don't even ask what's underneath. But in the late 1990s, someone broke that rule. They hauled hundreds of truckloads of dirt off the mount and dumped it in a valley like garbage. Thousands of years of history treated like construction debris. Most people would have let it disappear forever. But a team of researchers saw something else. A chance to do what had been forbidden for centuries. They started sifting through that dirt by hand, piece by piece, for years. And what they found stopped them cold.
The decision to open the tomb was absolutely, unequivocally a group decision.
Seals bearing the names of ancient temple priests. Tools used in ceremonies described in biblical texts. Pottery from the exact time Solomon's temple was supposed to have stood. Physical proof that the stories weren't just stories. But that was just the beginning. In 2023, a new team arrived with ground-penetrating radar and muon tomography, the same technology that found hidden chambers in the Great Pyramid. They aimed it at the southern edge of the mount, the place where local legends spoke of vast echoing voids and staircases descending into the earth. What appeared on their screens shattered a century of assumptions. Geometric shapes where there should only be solid rock, hallways, vaulted ceilings, blocked staircases. And when they overlaid the radar data onto hand-drawn maps from the 1860s, the outlines matched with surgical precision. The Victorian explorers weren't wrong. They just couldn't prove it. Now we can. Digging under the Temple Mount isn't like other sites. Under this plateau lies the spiritual center of 3 world religions. Even a single shovel could start a geopolitical firestorm. Since the 1800s, explorers have wanted to see what's hidden beneath. In the 1860s, a British engineer named Charles Warren crawled through shafts and tunnels under the city. He found rooms carved into bedrock, strange water channels, evidence of something vast and ancient. But as soon as he reported his findings, the doors closed. No official large-scale dig has happened there since. The reasons are part spiritual, part political. For some, the Mount is the holiest place on earth. For others, it's home to some of the most important mosques in Islam. Any move that looks like a threat to control can cause riots. As one expert put it, digging here isn't just about the past, it's about peace and war. But in the late 1990s, construction began on the Mount without proper archaeological oversight. They removed hundreds of truckloads of dirt and dumped them in the Kidron Valley. Just like that, thousands of years of history were treated like trash. In 2004, archaeologists launched the Temple Mount Sifting Project. They started going through every bucket of that discarded soil, by hand. What they found was staggering. At first, pottery shards, animal bones, pieces of old bowls. Then they found something that wasn't normal at all, a tiny piece of hardened clay, a seal used to stamp official documents. When they cleaned it, they saw an ancient Hebrew name, Gedaliahu, son of Immer. That name appears in biblical texts. Immer was a family of priests who served in the first temple. This wasn't just an artifact. It was proof that a real person from those ancient stories actually existed. More seals appeared, names matching historical records perfectly. Some bore symbols of temple gates, others showed priestly garments. They were holding the possessions of people who ran the temple 3,000 years ago. They found bronze tools used for burning incense, still marked with soot from ancient fires. An ivory comb with a sentence about ritual purity carved into it. Some critics had spent years claiming there was no proof Solomon's temple ever existed. These objects said otherwise. As researchers studied the distribution, they noticed a pattern. The items came from a specific area that had collapsed or been deliberately filled in. The pattern pointed toward rooms sealed for over 1,000 years. And in 2023, new technology finally let them see inside. For centuries, the southern edge of the Temple Mount was a place of whispers and folklore. Local legends spoke of vast echoing chambers and staircases descending into the heart of the earth. Modern academics dismissed them as exaggerations, but in early 2023, a new team decided to look at those old stories through a different lens. They turned to non-invasive technology, ground-penetrating radar and muon tomography, the same tools used to find the hidden void in the Great Pyramid. They focused on the southern slope, where bedrock drops sharply toward the City of David. What they found shattered long-held assumptions. The scans revealed geometric, man-made shapes where nature should have produced only jagged limestone. When the team overlaid their 2023 radar data onto hand-drawn maps from British explorers in the 1860s, the results were chilling. The outlines matched perfectly. The hallways, the blocked staircases, the vaulted ceilings that Victorian explorers had only glimpsed were appearing on high-resolution screens in vivid detail. Near the southwestern corner, just outside the primary walls, the team began clearing debris. Beneath layers of Ottoman and Crusader-era fill, they struck something solid, a staircase, meticulously carved into bedrock. As they cleared the final inches of dust, they entered a room forgotten for over a millennium. The walls bore faint carvings of crosses from the Byzantine era, suggesting this was a secret place of Christian prayer during the 4th or 5th century. But the Byzantine layer was just a skin. The floor felt uneven. When they investigated deeper, they made the discovery of a lifetime. Beneath the Byzantine plaster lay a second foundation, massive stones weighing several tons, cut with marginal draft finish, the hallmark of royal architecture. These stones weren't just old, they were ancient, dating back to the First Temple period. The alignment was perfectly synchronized with sacred zones described in biblical texts. But here's where it gets strange. The size and weight of these stones bear a striking resemblance to megalithic structures at Baalbek or the Giza Plateau. What if Solomon's temple wasn't the first structure built on this site? What if these massive stones are remnants of something much older? A pre-flood civilization that possessed technology far beyond what we credit to the Bronze Age? The theory suggests the Israelites didn't just build a temple. They reclaimed a power site that had been engineered for forgotten purposes thousands of years earlier. The most unsettling find was a second staircase, half collapsed, deliberately filled with rocks. This wasn't natural erosion. This blockage was intentional. Someone, at some point in antiquity, wanted this door to stay closed forever. The researchers also mapped a vast network of tunnels and cisterns carved into solid rock. These weren't simple wells. These were perfectly cut channels lined with sophisticated, waterproof hydraulic plaster that's remained intact for nearly 3,000 years. Testing confirmed the system reached peak efficiency in the 9th or 8th century BCE. The design displayed an incredible understanding of fluid dynamics. The channels were engineered to control water pressure, preventing damage during heavy winter rains. Some tunnels maintained constant flow. Others featured overflow valves diverting water into massive underground reservoirs. One basin was located directly beneath the traditional site of the altar of sacrifice. But the complexity suggests something more than just cleaning. Some researchers suggest the movement of high-pressure water through these limestone channels was designed to create a low-frequency hum, sonic engineering to induce religious ecstasy in worshippers standing above. In this view, the temple wasn't just a building. It was a massive musical instrument tuned to specific frequencies. If the water was purely for cleaning, the system was vastly over-engineered. Another theory suggests the Temple Mount acted as a massive ancient battery. They point to the high quartz content in Judean limestone and the way water channels are grounded into bedrock. The mathematical precision of the tunnel alignments makes it difficult to dismiss. Everything leads back to that blocked staircase, a jagged wall of rubble filled by hands in a hurry. You don't block a door to hide a room. You block it to ensure whatever's inside stays there. The most daring theory? The Ark of the Covenant. Some researchers believe the Ark was never lost. It was moved into a pre-prepared vault during the final Babylonian siege. Preliminary scans suggest the staircase leads to a chamber lined with copper and traces of lead, materials wildly out of place for a simple storeroom. If the Ark was a technological device, a capacitor, or radiation source, then these sealed rooms weren't sanctuaries. They were containment chambers. The ancient priests, wearing gold-threaded garments that could have acted as conductive suits, weren't just performing rituals. They were servicing a power source that demanded absolute isolation. The staircase was blocked because the insulation had to be permanent. Researchers are now preparing for the final look. Using fiber optic cameras and micro drones, they intend to thread through microscopic gaps in the blocked staircase. The goal is to see what's on the other side without moving a single stone. What most people don't realize is that the most important parts might still be hidden behind those blocked doors. What do you think is sealed behind that staircase? Could the Ark of the Covenant still be down there? Or is it something even older? Drop your theory in the comments. And if you want to see what they find when they finally open that door, hit subscribe, because this story is far from over.